All right, good morning. I'm Joseph Lee. I'm a full-time worker and also, well, part-time, you could probably say triathlete, although I train essentially full-time. But in here today, I'm going to be unveiling new Hoka One One Carbon X SPEs. Now, I don't know exactly what these SPEs fully stands for, but all I know is that they're a limited edition colorway. So this will be the first time I'm going to be wearing them. I'm going to break them in. I gotta get kind of a feeling for how they feel, at least on the road. I'm going to try to run a quick 10 miles at hard pace, although I'm kind of on a time schedule here because I've got to get in the pool in less than an hour and a half. So getting 10 miles in and driving to the pool, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Where this is comparing to, so eventually I'm thinking about switching to these Carbon X SPEs to for some half marathon and marathon racing, as well as half Ironman distance. Part of it is, one is I've got my Mizuno's, my trusty Wave Shadow 2s, which were the former shoe of choice, and continue to be for some of my longer training runs. And at some point, and these shoes that I've had for a while, they're right at about 350 to 360 miles. So they're starting to get a little bit worn out and starting to feel a little bit less cushion on them. So it was about time that I replaced them. And what did they decide to do? Decided to see what these Carbon X's feel like. And zooming in here, these are 10.5. These are pretty light. And the ultimate goal here is to kind of get a more responsive feel. I mean, my previous Wave Shadow 2s were pretty responsive. And I wanted to give just new shoes a try just to see what happens. And I used to be a very big Mizuno fan and still am and will be, but I figured it was about time that I wanted to switch to something a little different and figure this out. So I'm going to be going straight to the run, so I'm on my tri-suit because one, I feel like it, but two is also just kind of get a little bit of a race feel for how my body kind of reacts when I am doing a long run. I'm kind of running somewhat faster than I just have a banana, so I'm going to be running out the door here. I did try these on last night, not going to lie. The main thing I had with the feel was just making sure that the width was good, which after the first few minutes it'll feel a little bit tight like most shoes do, and then I started loosening them up a little bit towards the end. The main things that I do recommend folks is try to at least break these in just by feeling them out, wearing them in. What I mean by wearing them in is more or less trying to go and get the feet to kind of wiggle in the shoe. So you want to just have the feet kind of meander its way in the shoe such that you don't have true fit issues. I do plan to get a second pair of these if I do like them, or maybe a third pair if I'm really that crazy. But for the first time wearing these, there's plenty of room up front. Got plenty of room to really move around on the front side, which is what I'd be looking for, especially in a long distance, knowing that feet will tend to swell quite a bit in a long triathlon race. So that's a good sign there. These are 5mm drops, which is what I prefer now. I used to, the previous Wave Shadow 2s ran in an 8mm drop. So I'm looking forward to, the drop for me is a factor mainly because I'm looking for a shoe that will force me to have more of a forefront strike, so I don't have to struggle with heel striking. And that's kind of part of the reason why I've started training with lower drop shoes, mainly to force myself to get into that rhythm but also being conscious too that there's some parts of it which is just some technique and strength. So I'm looking forward to running with these for the first time. It's going to be, I think, quite responsive. I had a size 10 and I rode it on a trainer at half Ironman speed, and that was pretty fun, although I'm not really at the same level of run fitness as I used to be. And with these shoes, I'm hoping to hopefully beat some PRs with these, but I know that it's more on me at this point as opposed to just the shoes in terms of fitness, but we'll see how these feel. They do feel a little bit snug as I started trying to wear them, and I'll probably just wear these out the door. As I started wearing them too, they're a little bit, I think I'll need to break these in a little bit more as I start to run mainly on the width of the shoe. That's what probably, if there's anything that worries me right now, that would be that. But I think it's a matter of just breaking these in. So let's give these shoes for a run, and I'll be out on the pavement and kind of give some first impressions. So I'll see you folks out the door. Remember, when you do outdoor activities, unless you're really alone, if you're in a crowd of people and you can't socially distance, then wear a mask. With that, I'll be at the door and going to get on running. So I gotta get this ready here, and I'm excited to run in these. We'll see how far we can go. Hello folks, I'm out on my run out on the Burke-Gilman Trail. It was a nice day and a little foggy this morning. Got close to 5 miles in. That was the 5th mile. Doing these next, well, the 5th and the 6th mile a little bit easier. So far so good with these. Ran the first 4 at a little bit faster than my now 10K pace. So that's like 7-minute miles, maybe a little slower than that, but that felt great. These shoes want me to keep rocking forward, but when I slow down, then I do feel they have a little less responsiveness to them. But so far so good, and I would say that I know my right foot has some issues, and that's something that's more of a form thing as opposed to the shoe itself, because my left foot doesn't have any problems. So I know that's because of weak hips. So from there, we're gonna finish this run. I think I'll get the 8 in I need today, and I'll film back in when I return back to my condo. But yeah, these shoes feel pretty good. I don't have any complaints right now, and I'll see you guys back in my condo. And I am back after a couple of runs that I've had in these shoes. I just wanted to say that I guess from the runs that I've had, my overall perception of these is that these are pretty fast shoes when you go fast. And when you go a little bit slower, you won't really get the same type of rocking motion, or you won't get the same energy transfer versus if you were to go really fast with these. These do encourage more of a mid-foot strike as opposed to a rear heel, which is good. I personally do like these shoes. They are a bit narrow. They aren't necessarily going to be for everybody. I think that what they could probably do to improve is just increase the width a little bit of the forefront. But again, my feet are wide, and normally with Mizuno shoes that I normally wear, they do run wider, or at least Mizuno branded shoes run wider compared to most other brands, and Hoka is not an exception in terms of kind of running to a normal size. I would recommend for those that have wider feet to go and size up a half a size to what you normally would wear. So if you normally wear a 10.5, which is what I wear right now, I would recommend go up a half a size and go for a size 11, especially if you got wider feet. So for those that have slightly narrower feet, I think it's pretty good with the fit. Apologies there, my my dryer is done and I'm still doing laundry at this point. But with the overall fit, I guess I would say it's a bit narrower towards the forefront, towards the balls of my feet. But again, that's more genetics more than anything else. I actually did get a slight blister, but again, that was because the shoe size was, again, half a size smaller than it should have been. I actually got another pair from Roadrunner Sports to send me a half size up, and those worked out a lot better compared to the 10.5s that I have, so I'm going to swap out the 10.5s for an 11. They are pretty responsive. They do definitely have that kick when you go fast, and when I mean fast, really fast. You get a lot of energy transfer with them. I feel like I could go for quite a while for those shoes. So that's kind of some of my initial thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment down below and click on the link to subscribe, and I'll be doing more of these types of reviews. The next shoes, as I'm looking at them, are going to be some On Cloud Flyer waterproofs. It's going to start to get wet here in the Pacific Northwest, and I've got to replace my Wave Rider 21 Gore-Texes, which were my original waterproof shoes, but those have 480 miles in them, so I need to replace them. So that'll be my upcoming next videos, as well as a couple other products as I start to get more with getting used to some of the video recording technology. And hopefully you like this video. Give a like to this video if you haven't already. This helps the channel grow. And subscribe if you haven't also. And with that, I'll see you in the next one.